It's honestly so quiet in here. Hey guys, welcome to another video. Now, although I've been MIA for about half a year, this car has actually been MIA for about 4 months. Literally only just got it back yesterday. Now, this is something to definitely consider if you do want to buy a Tesla at some point in the near future. Once upon a time, back in October, I think, something like that, the car got, I wouldn't say massively dented. It's basically the door panel and two door panels basically. Ordinarily, you know, let's say this was just a normal car, bit of a dent, throw some T-cut on it and you'll be fine. Or without being stupid, you go to a body shop and have it fixed pretty quickly. That wasn't the case with the Tesla, and apparently it's not just a one-off. It's not great with other Teslas. If you do have one and you know anyone that's had one damaged or needed some repair work done, it is a bit of a faff and a nightmare. Now, first up, any ordinary body shop can't repair a Tesla. They have to be Tesla approved body shop centres. I'm not exactly sure what you call them, but basically there aren't very many of them about, especially in the UK as well, and where I live in the northwest there's only a few, and literally just a few. Thankfully there is one in Manchester, and they specialise in Teslas and high-end exotics, Bentleys, McLarens, that kind of thing, and they're the only people that can repair them. So initially Tesla said the parts that were required, they'd be readily available within a week, something like that. The car was still drivable beforehand. It was literally just some bodywork damage, didn't affect the car in any other way. It was literally just aesthetic. But yeah, that didn't go to plan. So the car was dropped off at the body shop. They stripped the car down, and then Tesla then informed them that the parts aren't readily available and that they're waiting for them. Or sorry, some of the parts were and some of the parts weren't, so it makes no difference whether just one was missing or not. Fact is, all the parts weren't readily available. So I'm kind of stuck then, because the car's been stripped down, it's sat in the body shop and literally just waiting for some parts to be shipped over from America, and they don't come direct to the UK. They go via Holland, because that's the European distributor for Tesla parts and things like that. In the meantime, what the garage gave as like a courtesy car was a 1 litre Seat, I think it was an Ibiza, something like that, which, don't get me wrong, it was actually a brilliant little car. It was pretty kitted out inside, it had a lot of options, had more options than I think it had more options than my CLA 45, so yeah, it wasn't bad. But Seat Ibiza, Tesla Model S kind of bit, so that kind of just sat in the driveway. And about, initially we thought it'd just be literally kind of like a month. So that's fine, we can just leave that Seat just sat there, other cars available. But a month slowly turned into 2 months, and I thought the car would be ready before Christmas. Over Christmas, had some long trips planned down to London and whatnot, and yeah, we weren't going to do them in the CLA 45 or the Seat Ibiza. So went back to the garage and this is kind of not on. And they ended up giving us a BMW 7 Series, which, you know what, it was actually all right. Very, very comfortable. A lot more comfortable than this, I'd say. Better built on the inside, but not as easy to drive as the Tesla Model S. You know, didn't have autopilot or anything like that. Do you know what? I didn't even have adaptive cruise control. And how long did I end up having that? That was there for about a month, I'd say. A bit more than that, actually. So in the end, it took a grand total of slightly under 4 months from the car going into the garage to kind of now, me driving, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like you've seen the damage. It's not big. It's kind of minor. But you know, Tesla haven't been making cars for as long as Mercedes and BMW and even, you know, the likes of Ferrari and whatnot. Parts with those manufacturers, they're always readily available, but at the minute all the new parts that Tesla are making are kind of for the Model 3. You know, they're massively behind on that, so they're not really manufacturing spare parts. But it's something you should really consider, because speaking to the guy at the garage, so although, you know, they had the car for kind of 4 months, some people have had it much worse. And, you know, in the last, apparently the whole situation was much worse. You know, 12 months, 24 months ago, there was one guy who had his car in the garage for 12 months. And the thing is, you know, you're paying for a car that you can't actually drive, which is mad. I imagine it can only get better with time, but I feel like I'm kind of making excuses for Tesla, but there really isn't for that kind of thing. Or just to kind of let us know, it was the fact that they said they had the parts ready. That's why I gave the car in, because otherwise the car was drivable. You know, kept driving the car for about 2 weeks beforehand. You know, apart from a massive scrape down the side, weren't too bothered. Still got us from A to B. So that's one side of things to consider. The next thing, which I suppose all you nosy lot want to know, is how much was the repair bill, and the quote came to almost £16,000 to repair that dent, which is absolutely insane. And the thing is, these days cars, you know, if you damage a body panel, they've got so many sensors and things like that in them that the cost of repairing cars is going quite crazy. So it's not just Teslas. You know, the new E-Class, for example, you've got so many different sensors in the windscreen, the door panels, mirrors and all that stuff, that if you damage them, they're quite pricey to repair. But yeah, that came as a bit of a shocker. £16,000 for 2 big dents. That's a whole set at Ibiza, to be fair. I think something like that anyway. So obviously that was an insurance job. Wouldn't be doing that too often. There are loads of videos out there about Teslas and, you know, the tech and all the funky stuff that they do, but when it comes to like hidden things that you wouldn't really be aware of, like how often do you crash your car? Not very often, I'd hope. But if you do, it's just something to be noticeable. It's just something to be aware of. First off, well, you know, cost doesn't really matter too much because everyone's got insurance. But you know, it can send your next insurance quote through the roof. Plus it's the timing. You know, if you're going to be out of a car for however amount of time, that's just like inconvenient to yourself. Thankfully, you know, I've got other cars that are kind of in the garage that I can just use. But it's weird. I've not driven this car for literally almost half a year, and I've bought a new car again. Anyway guys, that was just a quick update with what's going on with the Tesla. I know I did say there'd be a DBS Superleggera video coming up this week. I wasn't kidding, it is coming, but the weather's been really crap in the UK the last week. It's been freezing cold, grit everywhere on the roads, and taking a 715 horsepower rear-wheel drive supercar out on the roads in these kinds of conditions, that's a recipe for trouble. Plus you guys probably want to see me push it a little bit without wrapping it around a lamppost, so bear with me. That is coming probably, well, I'll say next week again. We'll see what the weather's like. But as always guys, thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.